Welcome back to the third season of the Three Amibros podcast. Today is the first rendition of season 3, and we're going to be bigger. We're going to be better. We're going to be the most comprehensive what's the word for it? Oh, yes, non-educational podcast you ever listened to. Okay?
So you just said what's the word for it and then said a fucking sentence.
Don't need it from you.
Okay,
I
I'm just
am
saying.
excited to get back to the bullshit. I'm excited to get back to the football talk. I'm excited to BS my way around other sports that I don't watch. And I am excited to be back with you boys once again in this new year of football because who cares about anything else?
Love it.
Love it. Can't wait to be back. Excited to be back.
To start this off, I think we should start with a recap. And let's start with the least of updates in their life. Christopher, take it away. How was your hiatus from us? How was your time off? How was your off season, some would say?
That's a great way to put it. My off season, a lot of guys in their off season they grind. They go to the grind. They get ready for the next year. Got to be honest with you, didn't do that shit. Kind of sat on my ass. Kind of just hung out with my kid. Kind of just, whatever. But now I'm getting back in the grind. I'm ready for season 3. It's like you said, Alex, it's bigger, it's better. We're going to last longer. This is going to be a beautiful season for us. To be honest, I spent most of the off season just excited for this season. I've been itching to get back to football. We're now just a few weeks away from preseason. So you can kind of get that taste, that excitement. We're starting to talk about fantasy. So that's about it for me. Just hanging out with my kid and waiting for football.
I love it. Let's bring it over to the most handsome man in this call. Jay, how was your off season, brother?
Oh, brother, fantastic. I think we maybe sat on our ass a little bit, but we also did a few things here or there. So we went to the gym, picked up the weight and dipped. But other than that, I think the summer's been like crazy busy. So at least for me, between work and other life events. So just for all of you, I recently became an off the market man, officially taken from a fiance. I got down on a knee and decided to sign a lifetime contract for my woman, Miss Cypress. So we just did that recently, I think June 30th. Super excited. We did it in Hawaii, where she was from. It was beautiful. We got some great photos. You guys obviously got to see too. It's kind of crazy, it's weird that you can have like a renew honeymoon stage and just something that changes in your life, some big life changes. I bet you guys had that somewhat when you had kids and stuff like that too. But yeah, we're both super stoked. Now we get to plan a wedding and planning an engagement was work. You guys probably have all done that before. Maybe less work for some of y'all and others for me. Doing a photographer, trying to get all these things. It was a blast.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Justin. You made me look bad
Oh, I
with
made
how
everybody
you
look
did it.
bad. It's okay.
Like beautiful beach, Hawaii, photographer there to capture the moment. I fucking asked my wife to marry me in a Borat voice. So yeah, you set the bar a little high for some of us.
And
And
Chris, I believe we actually share engagement dates, right? Or Cindy?
Yes,
Yeah.
within hours of each other. Yes.
wow, that's a cool thing you guys got going on over there. Didn't know.
Yeah, but absolutely. Other than that, man, I'm so excited to get back talking with you guys too. I've been waiting for football to start, even though my team has done ass or shit this offseason. I still have a ton of things to talk about other teams because I think other teams got to do some really cool things, and I'm pumped to get into this. I'm pumped to get into season 3. I think again we took some time just to kind of revamp, reevaluate, and set some new stuff. And dude, I mean, I think what the three of me bros got coming at you. It's about to be crazy, about to be good.
I love it. Well, I'm going to throw it to the person that you don't get to hear from, don't get to see often, because some say that he's a myth, he's a legend, but to us, he's McJam. McJam, how was your off season?
Pretty good. Cardinals, exciting stuff there. Other than that, been relaxing, working, chilling with the fiance. I don't know if the fans know about that, but also a new fiance over here. So
They
yeah,
do
life is
now.
good, man. Life is good.
Well,
That's
that's,
beautiful.
you know, simple words from a simple man that we love to have on this podcast. He's made it better since he's joined. So I know we can't see you, but we love you.
The almighty voice from above.
Or below. We don't want to assume. But my off season was quite a spectacle. Kind of like my quarterback controversy on my team. It was crazy. Okay. We not only did I move my family across the country one time, I decided to do it again and move back to the great state of Arizona. Yeah, so made a beautiful drive. McJam was awesome enough from wherever he is to come out and drive me back from Tennessee to the home state of Arizona. Now we just need one of us to get back here so we can do an in-person podcast and make it even better. I'm not going to name names who that is, but we all know. So yeah, it was awesome. We were able to move back to Arizona. We were able to do all that fun stuff. My background will be better. I know it looks a little bland right now, but just you wait, boys. It is awesome. And you know what else is awesome? The fact that we get to sit here and talk about sports when we have a lot of opinions and about zero experience playing these sports. Well, maybe at a higher level, okay? But we got a lot of opinions, and I think it's only right for Jay to talk us through what we're going to be doing the next couple weeks and what can you expect from these podcasts before the season starts.
Dude, Alex, you're the best, man. And so right, just like crazy, just like your quarterback room right now. But preseason, who really gives a shit? I don't think anybody. If you're like me, you're all sensitive and sad that you know these players are about to get cut. If you're like Alex and Chris, you're like fuck them and cut them. But
No,
at
that's
the
not
end of the
true.
day,
That's not
we're
That's
not
true.
gonna
true.
go through
That's true. Get the
this.
fuck off the team.
Uh, Whoa, defend yourselves when I'm not speaking. How about that? No, I'm just kidding. But for real, in the next couple of weeks, guys, we got 4 weeks where we're gonna just plan out. We're gonna go through the divisions. We're gonna split one AFC and one FC every episode, and we're just gonna go through the list of teams, hear their offseason moves, changes, additions, losses, and then kind of rank what we think this division is gonna be like between the teams. Who's gonna be the number one seed? Who's gonna be the last seed? It'll be really fun. I guess a lot of us who maybe listen don't know as much what's going on in the off season. If you're not constantly in it, things change daily, hourly, minute. So we'll get to update you guys on some of those changes that happened. And to just get to the good old shit talking Alexisms and debacles that we get here on the Three Amigos podcast. But before we go deep into this, I just have to say one thing. All right, I know you guys haven't because we already talked about this, but I think it's so important to hit on this NCAA 25 game. Right, because at the end of the day, it's making people want to buy the new station. It did exactly its job because I think, Chris, you talked about it before we jumped on the potty that you're thinking about investing in a PlayStation 5 just to get yourself the game, yeah?
Oh, I'm not thinking, I'm doing. That is happening. This, like, the college football game to me growing up was always the greatest sports game available.
Yeah.
And now that it's been on like an 11-year hiatus, basically, I'm itching for it. So yeah, I'm absolutely going to the next generation just for this game.
Dude, for sure. It came out early last week for those people who got it on Tuesday. For me, I picked it up on Friday because I was cheap and I wasn't paying the extra $25. And let me tell you, it is still so exciting. It's so fun to come back. And I would agree with you, Chris. I think in college football had such a different feel on the game. You could do so much with the player, the dynasty, whatever you prefer, you like. Excuse me, I can't get that out. I'm looking like Alex. But my favorite is my favorite has always been the road to glory. I like getting a player, hitting the grind, getting on a team and just working through them, figuring it out. And it's so much different now because the last one being in 2014, you couldn't enter the transfer portal, you couldn't do all these other
Right.
things. And they made it so much more realistic. The graphics are great, the teams are great. And I just can't wait to keep developing and figuring out what I like about it, how to make the things. And I think Alex, you even thought about getting the game, yeah?
I did. I'm a PC guy. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go buy it. Can't. So I might have to hop on the train and go buy a new system. I don't know if I will because I don't play it that often, other than the one game. It's a lot of money to invest in one game, you know? It's like a $600 investment if you're going to do one game.
True.
But then for all the
But
future games, you can
I
just get
think
the new one.
it'll come out. I think it'll come out on the PC eventually.
No.
You don't think so? You
No,
don't think
Madden
they're
doesn't
gonna
even
allow
come
it
out on
to?
PC.
That is true. That
Yeah.
is true.
And they probably have certain contracts that maybe not. But if you haven't got it, I would say, and if you're a fan of football, you're missing out. Run your ass to the nearest GameStop, Best Buy, wherever you can buy fucking video games and buy this game because it is so worth it. It's worth the hype. I'm invested. I'm addicted. Every chance I get, I'm trying to log on and play a quick 15-minute game or something. So definitely it would be worth it. Well, if you guys don't have anything else, let's just jump into what teams we're talking about this week. So this week we're going
Absolutely.
through the NFC South. Those are going to include the Atlanta Falcons, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Buccaneers, and then your favorite AFC North. That's going to be the Baltimore Ravens,
Ooh.
the Cincinnati Bengals, Cleveland Browns, and your Three of Me Bro podcast favorite, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Not winners. You guys haven't won last year, and I don't think you won the year before, and I don't think you won the year
What
before
about
that.
what we did last year? What we do this year? I want to hear from you guys, okay? We'll get to it. We'll get into
Hey,
it.
you know, a lot of controversy in your team, but I can't wait because you're actually the last one. So it's all this anticipation to get into the Steelers. But we're just going to start off with probably the craziest offseason, to me at least, is the Atlanta Falcons making on draft day probably one of the most controversial moves, and everybody was freaking out. So for those content, right, they just signed Kirk Cousins to this crazy amount of deal on the offseason. I think what is 4 year, 3 year? You have to remind me. I can't know.
It's 4 year, but it's one of those deals where they're really only married to him for the first 3 years. But technically the contract is for 4 years, and it's like 140 million guaranteed. Something
A lot of money to a
outrageous
guy.
guaranteed.
A lot of money to a guy who can't win a postseason game, yeah?
And just came off an Achilles injury.
I don't
And
want
you
to hear,
haven't seen him play.
I want to hear from Chris on this guy because he has a horrible outlook on the man named Kirk. And it's not positive. And we are a positive show now, okay? So we're gonna turn Chris off for this one because, or maybe save it to the end because he'll just wreck Kirk in the response. But I think that it was a wild move to take Penix. I understand the move to take Penix because, like he said, his Achilles, like you
So
never know.
elaborate, Alex, real quick. Who'd they pick?
Michael Penix from where? You know where?
UW.
UW. That's where you live right now. But yeah, he's a beautiful long ball. He looks like almost a more athletic, better version of like Russell Wilson with that ball. And so hopefully he's able to do something. But I think it is wild that you're going to take a top 8 pick, right? That's what he was.
Yeah, he was number 8.
Third quarterback in the draft. Fourth quarterback in the draft.
Fourth
Quarterback in the draft. And you're going to like take him at 8 when you already signed this guy because you're almost falling into the Packers like thing where you play him for 1 year, and if he really shows out, you got to pay a lot of money to keep that man on your team for 1 year of how good he did. It is a very interesting pick with the brand new head coach. It's like, are we married to Kirk? The owner paid him all this money. Is it a real thing, or are we gonna see Penix come in 2 years and take over? You know, it's like it's a really weird. Or is it just a backup option? Is it a Jordan Love when Aaron Rodgers was there? Is it an Aaron Rodgers when Brett Favre was there? Like, is it this kind of thing? Or
Their
is
war room was even weird, like when that situation was going down. They all seemed not on the same page.
no?
But
That was awkward.
I actually, you know what? Secretly, I really do admire this move because of a couple reasons. One, in college, Penix was constantly injured. So, one, he gets a step back and just practice and heal and not have to go through all the really rough, rigged injuries that he would if he's playing. So, like any lingering issues that he would have, he gets a chance to heal. And then after 3 years, if Kirk's not the man, or maybe even after 2 years, because who knows, he can literally play this year with his Achilles and not really look great, which Kirk is kind of hit or miss depending on days, you know?
Shit.
Yeah,
Dog shit.
well, yeah, I wouldn't say dog shit. He obviously plays pretty decent enough to get on a team and make $100 something million. I can't throw like him. I don't
Hey.
think you can throw like him.
No. But his legacy is the amount of money he's made in his career.
Or
That should tell you about how well he's
hasn't
played.
spent in his career because he is a cheap ass.
Well, hey, I would be too if I was him. I don't blame him for that. You're collecting all that money you save and invest and be smart with it, but he has robbed the Minnesota Vikings, and now he has robbed the Atlanta Falcons because Kirk Cousins ain't getting it done.
Man, Chris, you know the one thing that I always love about you that I can just respect about you is you're just such a passionate individual. And when the Browns come, Alex can't really talk because he'll immediately start talking shit. But anyways, back to the Falcons. You know, I think at the end of the day, they have a new coach. There's a lot of mystery. So, like, what do you guys think? What do you think about what's to come with the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, then they hired a defensive-minded coach, which is awesome. That's great. But like their offense with London and Pitts and who else did they pick up? Is that the only two?
They have Bijan Robinson as their running back, which they totally mismanaged last year. So it'll be exciting to see what he does this year.
I don't want to hear any Arthur Smith bashing in the chat either. Okay.
Oh, he sucks, and the Pittsburgh Steelers are special for taking him. But go on.
I don't hear it. But I do think it does make sense for them to go get a high target quarterback with what offensive weapons they have. It would almost be like it almost do them like a disservice if you didn't give them a chance. I understand Kirk is whatever, but he is gonna win regular season games, and maybe he could turn it on. Maybe the old wise veteran can figure out how to actually win a postseason game, or take him in 1 or 2 games in. But it does make sense for them to go out and get him. It did feel a little weird to draft Penix and not maybe draft an offensive lineman or something like that to help them in that game. But hey, listen, we aren't paid millions of dollars to make these decisions, so we're only paid $0 to give our opinions on them.
Yeah, and they also added Darnell Mooney from the Bears.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
so they're adding, and you're so right. They added all these weapons to be able to do something with it. Now the whole thing would be like, can you do something? Because Kirk Cousins had all that with the Vikings, and he really didn't do much. I mean, they couldn't win anything in the postseason. So it's going to be interesting, I think, to see at the end of the day of what the Falcons do. This division's wide open, and we'll get to that here a little bit later down. But I think we're pretty much set on what the Falcons have done, all the craziness, and we'll get into what I personally think was probably the worst team in football last year, which was the Carolina Panthers.
Oh,
man. They could use anything and everything. They just need help.
I don't know what they're doing over there.
One of the biggest things that I was shocked that they did is they got rid of Brian Burns. I forgot to add that in our outline, but they traded away Brian Burns to the Giants.
The Giants.
Which is good for the Giants, picking up a good
Pissed
piece.
me off.
Yep. And they added Clowney onto the roster to kind of help replace that. But like age guy, talent, I mean, I think Clowney used to maybe be the same 5 years ago. But even now, I don't think he's the same player that he was. Like, why would you give up such a big piece? I can't even remember what they got for him, but maybe not much.
I think they got a first.
A first and a 7th or something.
Okay, that's actually pretty decent. I'll take that any day of the week. Yeah, and that's where did they use that?
He's a sure thing.
Yeah,
did they use that up a guy that you know is a stud?
Yeah, did they draft Xavier Legette? Is that how you say his name?
What's up?
It is pronounced that way, but I don't know if that's the exact pick that was used to get him.
But then in the draft, they drafted him, which I think was good because they have no good targets. Oh, they have Adam Thielen.
Oh, here we go, guys. We got a McJam update. It looks like they traded cornerback Dante Jackson and a 6th-round pick to Pittsburgh for Deontay Johnson and a 7th-round pick.
That's the wrong trade. Thank you for that, McJam.
But we're getting into that.
But it's still one that we missed.
One that we missed. Yes, I do remember that.
Because they traded for a scrub. Deontay Johnson is so trash Every
This is
time the ball hits his hand, it immediately falls out.
or doesn't go on the touchdown. What it was they got a second round pick in the 2024 draft, which was number 39, and then a fifth round pick in the 2025 draft. So basically and then the Giants getting number 166 and the Panthers getting 144. So they swapped fifth rounds.
Mm.
So I mean, it kind of was like okay, and it's kind of weird that they traded him away. I don't know if you guys have watched the Hard Knocks on it, but it was kind of fun to see that like go into action and how it actually played out. It
Yeah,
was
yeah.
it was a very interesting like way how it went down. I think that Carolina's thing is we're not going to be great in the next 3 years, so why not try to get some draft picks to help maybe something, right? I don't know, man. It just like what else are they going to do to make themselves better when they have a quarterback with a line? It just doesn't seem like they're going to do much this year. So why not try to get more picks in the future to do something?
What a disappointing franchise. Going from such a high a couple
Horrible.
years ago to just where they are now, it just shows a complete like meltdown of what it means to keep rebuilding and add talent, surround your team with talent. I think well, speaking of adding talent, what they try to do was add Rashad Penny, who's been injury prone at Seattle, to back up Miles Sanders, which I didn't think Miles Sanders was worth it last year to begin with, but they still decided to pay him. They added a scrub like Deontay Johnson. And I think the only really good pickup they added was, I don't even know this man, but he's supposedly pretty good, is Robert Hunt. He's a guard. So to help maybe block, because Young was one of the most sacks quarterback. I think he was second on the list, if I'm not mistaken. But like,
Yeah.
dude, that team just needs, really, just be honest, that team needs a lot of the stuff. I think their defense is probably more complete than their offense is. But like, I really wasn't impressed with what I saw last year from Bryce Young. I wasn't high on him in
Well,
the draft anyways.
like he was the second most sacked quarterback, but not you can't blame all of that on his offensive line. Some of those were definitely on him making those rookie errors of just holding on to the ball too long or trying to play hero ball and run around with it. So yeah, I wasn't impressed with him either. I actually expected more out of him, and it was shocking.
I do understand where they're coming from because this is the owner's third year with them. This
Yes,
is the third year with them, and
they
so
hate him.
yeah, like and then to go through two GMs already in your 3 years and your third coach in your 3 years. I think it's the third coach. It could be the second coach, but like
No, it's the third.
coach, second GM. It's like, what are you guys really doing over there to like make a
Yeah.
consistent system of what it is? I'm not saying that they have to be like the Steelers where they never change anything, but it's like you need some kind of consistency from some kind of thing. And then the Frank Reich, that was his name, right? Hire after getting
Yes.
fired from Indianapolis mid-season and then coming over and trying to get him. It was a really weird hire last year. And then now this year, it's just an interesting time. I hope they can figure it out. The everybody seems to be super high on their GM. Seems to be like a football guy. Seems to be like a no nonsense. Let's get this done. So it seems like they're hopefully turned around if they can keep these people together. But who knows, honestly.
I
All
think the Frank Wright hire was due to Brad Johnson basically spurning them after interviewing with them and then took himself out. I think that's who they really wanted. And then they were left with their dick in their hand when he said, no, I'm going to stay. And then their owner, I think, has Jerry Jones complex where he wants to be so involved. But the difference is for all the negative things you can say about Jerry Jones, he's actually always been good at eyeing talent out of the draft and whatnot. Where so far, Panthers have pretty much swung and missed on most of the guys they've taken under
I
this
like
current
this new
regime.
wide receiver they just took, and that seems awesome. But you're right; it seems very weird that not to see what Bryce Young did and then to see what CJ Stroud did. Obviously, two different like environments, two different franchises. But what would have CJ done if he was the number one pick in there? And what would have Bryce Young done? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great debate of what could have been, what should have been, what not, right? But I think even though last year you guys heard me at the beginning, like the CJ Stroud, that's who I'm taking. Like,
Yeah, 100%.
for sure. Just what, but hey, who knows? Let's just hope for the best for them. Like, I don't hate the Panthers. I actually like their colors. I think their jerseys are dope. I loved it when Cam Newton and Christian McCaffrey were there. I thought that was a sweet duo. But like, dude, only time can tell for them, and let's just hope for the best for the Carolina Panthers. Hey, next on our lineup is those New Orleans Saints, another really weird team that's good enough to almost do nothing.
I'm going to be honest with you guys. I don't know anything going on with their team right now. They also did not make much noise this offseason.
I think really the only big things they did, and they re-signed Tyrann Mathieu to 2 years, and then they added a St. Brown's brother. I cannot say his name to save my life.
Yeah. I think that's how you say it.
Alex, you want to try? I love when you try.
I think it's Equesmus.
I think it's like Equinox. I don't know.
So bad, but I don't even know his name. And that's really all I can see. I mean, obviously, I think they got some people in the draft, which again, our college football expert is Chris, but I think Chris is really good with the Big Ten and maybe a few other teams here and there and knowing what's going on. But college football just has so much. Do we really know all these players? Do we really know what's going on with them? No. I think the best thing is you just see what kind of happens in the big leagues. And we're not here for college football. We're here because we like NFL. We like talking about the big boys, the professionals, not the amateurs.
Hey, they're not amateurs anymore. They're getting paid. They're now technically professionals.
NIL, baby. NIL. Disappointing quarterback that they thought would come in and change their whole team.
Derek Carr.
And it was just so disappointing. And like, I almost just wish Jameis was there.
I think he needs another year to figure it out what's going on, because they also just like new head coach, knew everything that they're trying to do. It's just a raw team, you know what I mean? Dude, Michael Thomas, what the fuck? At the end of the day, too, either play or just get out of here. He had such a good start, and he's an Ohio State guy, so you guys know I like him. Just to go from someone who is playing,
and I think he sucks.
I know. Going lights out to just barely being able to touch a field nowadays. So, like, what are you doing there? Chris Olave, great talent. I think last year he balled out. I loved seeing him play. I had him on a couple fantasy teams, and he did me well. And I think that the team is crazy because it's one of those teams that have such potential. Yeah, they could be right in the middle of the road. They could be even, split season, still win the division. That's the crazy part about this division as we get past it, right? Is all these teams can go in, open, and anybody can win. All you have to do is win this division. You're going to make the playoffs. Tell me what this means too, because I'm not well versed, but I know their offensive lineman Ryan Ramczyk. Is that how you say his name? I know he's good. I remember hearing him when his brother played with Tom Brady, right? He was the center for him, or maybe he was the center originally. I'm not sure, but he is now on the reserve slash physically unable to play list or perform.
So I think he used to be under center for him in Tampa Bay, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I could be wrong there. And yeah, from what I remember, very injury prone.
Wasn't Jensen for the quarterback, the center for Tom in Tampa?
Right. Yeah, that tracks too.
Jensen.
Well, I know this name. I would never put him in there if I didn't know the name. I know this guy's name. And I was just curious, like, what the fuck does that mean to be unable to perform list? Is he injured? Is he hurt himself? Is he just sick?
So it's the pup list. And yeah, all that is just like he can't participate in the off-season workouts right now. But more times than not, guys that are put on that come back before the season starts, or they come back during the preseason. It's just like kind of a injury list of the off season, from what I understand. Like who just had the is it
You just said
someone just had a rookie wide receiver go on the pup list that was
San
like
Francisco
crucial.
did, and
San Francisco, Ricky Pearsall or whatever his name.
Yeah, we're not here
Yeah,
for names.
he just went on the pup list, which is why their fans are freaking out with the Brandon Ayuk stuff, because yada yada. We'll get to that division maybe next week. We'll see. But yeah, it's just kind of like an off-season designation for injuries,
Okay.
from what I understand.
I think that this team is still trash. I think they will go 8-9 and still might win the division.
It's really
Absolutely.
dependent on Derek Carr. Like, I think he's just so inconsistent that the man's just got to find a way to be consistent.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like they have the talent, Kumara, Olave. Like they have the talent there to like try to do something.
Jamal Williams.
He.
I know. When
But you know
he
what? They
didn't have
didn't
that
use
Lions
him.
O-line.
But he didn't use
Yeah, they
him
didn't
like
use
the
him.
Lions did, right? He's a power back. And dude, you should use him in all those goal line situations, which is why he won all those touchdowns, right? He got all of them, won those touchdowns for the season. And they only took him because he broke a record. Where you're going to use him differently. And like you have Alvin Kamara, you're not going to use him as your go-to back. Like he's just one of those other weapons. Like
He literally didn't get a touchdown until the final play of their season. That was like kind of a uncalled for. Actually, it may have not been their final game. Maybe it was one of their final games though. But it was one of those controversial endings, and it took them to the end of the season to get it.
They have like one of the most athletic freaking people in the NFL in Taysom Hill. That like they just have like they've used well, but like you could do so much more with somebody who can be a tight end, be a wide receiver, be a quarterback, and like actually use somebody. Because like Carr just didn't seem to be getting it done.
Yeah.
I'm not saying he's starting quarterback, but playing those trick plays, give Derek Carr some like relief.
Yeah.
An interesting team this year.
For sure. And I think this next team and the last team in the NFC South is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They look like they did the most. If a team I can say in this division that said, hey, we won the division technically, right? And we want to get out there and make more moves, they did it. I think they were happy what they saw from Baker, signed him for 3 years, $1 million. Kind of crazy.
Good for him. Good for Baker.
Yeah. Kept Mike Evans, 2 more years. Dude, he's probably going to retire a Buccaneer. If not, he may spend a couple years somewhere else. Levante David, their stud linebacker, to a year, $10 million. That's crazy that they only signed him for a year. Curious what they plan on doing with them after this year. On top of it, they added Randy Gregory, who if he stops smoking pot, he'll be pretty good. Jordan Whitehead, who was a safety for the Jets. Apparently, like he's a super hard hitter, and I remember his name last year watching him play. He's physical, and that's exactly that kind of defense, right? I think they're that hard-nosed, like great get in your face kind of defense. And they still have Winfield Jr. that they placed the franchise tag on, so now they have 2 solid safeties.
But they lost Carlton Davis Jr. And I love that. I took him. Well, the Lions took him.
Yeah, which is, good for the Lions, but they lose a couple pieces, but I don't like even looking through, they didn't lose much. And if not, they added to it, which I'm excited about. And then they added Chase Edmonds from the Cardinals. So sorry, McJam.
They're still my favorite to win the division.
Oh, 100 backup running back to go behind
Rashad White's projected to have a pretty good season. I think everybody's kind of putting him as like a dark horse. Like no one's really thinking of him as like a good back, but I think like for fantasy, like they think he's going to get the production numbers, and we'll see. I think only time can tell. And I like that they signed Baker. I like that they did these moves. I think Baker,
me too.
The one thing about Baker, he may not be the most talented, but like given like circumstances, like he can change the atmosphere of a team.
Also, 5 years, 5 coordinators, like that's not really on. I'm not saying it's not on him, but it's like he still had winning seasons with the shit Browns and had 5 different coordinators.
Not even just coordinators, like 3 or 4 different head coaches too.
Yeah, it was brutal. And then like to be bugged out by a fucking. We'll get there. And then to go to the Rams and like actually do something in 2 days. I don't
Yeah.
know if that was crazy. And to get the chance with the Bucks and prove out and actually get a contract, I'm just so happy.
Didn't he also have a short stint with the Panthers before the Rams or something?
He actually signed with the Panthers. He played for the
Yeah,
Panthers. And they weren't doing good. He got traded to the Rams. Those
that's
two
right.
games he played with the Rams gave him enough to get that sign with the Buccaneers. So I think the
Yes.
Buccaneers kind of took a risk, but it worked in their favor.
100%.
I just want to see him keep doing well.
Oh, for sure. I don't hate the man. He was such a face of a franchise and then the face of the NFL for a little bit, right? He's on those commercials. What is he, a progressive guy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. Those stadium commercials were iconic. And then people started ragging on him for having too many commercials and all that, which is true if you're not having the success on the field.
Yeah. But
But I love seeing him do well and the Browns do poorly.
for sure. And I think I think you already said it, Alex, but dude, talking about this division, this is definitely what I think is going to be the clear winner in this division. If they don't win this division, I'd be shocked.
For sure.
I think the team that's going to probably have the most improvement is going to be the Atlanta Falcons. I see them with adding this talent that they'll actually give a little bit more run for their money against some of these teams, right? This division's so up for grabs. Like literally, it's divisional games. It can go either way, and it depends on the strength of the schedule. And I think
sure.
it can go either way depending on how Kirk Cousins plays. That's it.
Ass.
Are we ranking these teams real quick and then we'll move on to the next division?
I'm not really ranking.
Absolutely.
I'm just talking about best, worst, and most improved, maybe.
Talking like first, second, third, fourth, baby. What do you think?
All right, then I'll go Buccaneers, Falcons, Saints, Panthers.
I'm gonna second that.
I'm going Falcons, Bucks, Saints, Panthers.
Whoa. So you're actually saying the Falcons are winning it.
I just think like Kirk is a good enough quarterback to win regular season games to actually have them win the division.
You know what, Alex? I can't say you're wrong for that because that Falcons defense is still pretty good.
Yeah,
I think if they can utilize the weapons that they have, if Kyle Pitts can get involved, if Drake London can get involved, if they don't sit Bijan Robinson and let him actually run the fucking football, that team could be scary, really good.
yeah,
But
like I mean, you saw what he did when he had what's their bucket? Oh my gosh, when he had like Diggs and Jefferson and who just got traded from them? Why can't I think of his name? Who was their running back? Cook. When they had Cook, like they were a really good team. Like they couldn't do anything past the like regular season, but like they were a really good team. And to counter that too, like their division is kind of trash. So they could go 6-0 in their division. Like with the team that they have, like they could potentially beat the Bucks twice. They're probably going to beat the Saints twice, and they're probably going to beat Panthers twice.
Yeah, but here's the thing. Through most of his tenure with the Vikings, that defense was much better than the defense of the Falcons. And
I
he
think that's
had
negotiable.
That defense is
I bet you we can look it up. That was always one of the top, not always. I will say the last couple of years that defense has gone downhill, but for the most part, that defense was pretty top tier, especially under Zimmerman, because he was a defensive guy. Then he has Jefferson. You're telling me the Falcons have a Jefferson?
No, but they got a lot more weapons than what they have there. They have maybe Jefferson in 3 different bodies, like between Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and Bijan Robinson. Like, I mean, those
I see. To me, Bijan is still
a question mark.
He's still a question mark to me. He's got the potential, but as far as I'm concerned, and obviously I'm biased, but Jahmyr Gibbs whooped his ass when it comes to comparing the rookie running backs.
No, yeah, Chris, but I don't think it was a fair. You can't. That's not fair because
exactly, he wasn't given the chance.
Exactly. So, Alex, to prove your point, I don't agree with you, but I still understand where you're coming from, and I think that can definitely happen. And for the Falcon fans, I bet they really hope you're right because it'd be a waste of time and a waste of money if they didn't do something like that, right?
Oh yeah.
Well, real quick, I just want to say something nice about Kirk Cousins. And that's if the Falcons do win the division this year, it'll be because his ass is on the bench and Michael Penix is in there playing. Thank you.
You're done. You're done. You're done. We're gonna move on to best division in football.
Oh gosh.
That's debatable.
Best division in football. I don't want to hear from you two.
Okay.
It's the AFC North. I'll handle this one since it is my division, and we will actually talk about the best team last, and we'll talk about maybe the second best team in our division first, the Baltimore Ravens. Boys, how'd they do this offseason? Derrick Henry,
Yes.
Bateman, Von Noy, Eddie Jackson. How do we feel? How do you feel about this team? They were good, and now they're probably getting better.
Derrick Henry alone.
Yeah.
Huge acquisition. Scary acquisition for that team.
Yeah.
You just gave this rushing offense even more reason to be good. You know, with injuries plagued between all the running backs, J.K. Dobbins, I think they also they had a fucking 3 of their 4 running backs got injured last year, and you throw a workhorse like Derrick Henry in there, Lamar. This team was already good last year. I believe they won the AFC, if I'm not mistaken. And
they did have the 1 seed,
yes. And said, you know what, we'll re-sign some players. We're going to add this talented running back who I really wanted the Cowboys to get. Obviously, you guys know that. And then add like safety like Eddie Jackson between Marlon Humphrey, Eddie Jackson. They did let go. What's his bucket? Patrick Queen. Which I you know,
to the Steelers.
I loved Patrick Queen with the Ravens. I thought he's a beast. You know, this team's still scary good, dude. Alex, I know you can say whatever and it's okay, but this still is the best team in your division by far.
It is so scary to see this team do what they did last year, and then
add Derrick.
We're just going to add a guy who on any given year can just run for 2,000 yards because he's just that good. It's just whatever. Like, it's whatever. Like, you want to hand the ball off to him and you have a good enough offensive line. And now it's not, oh, Lamar's going to run on you. It's like, oh, hey, also I could hand this guy who's like 6'8" and 260. I don't know how tall he is or whatever he is. But
dramatic a little bit.
Yeah, just a big boy like to hand the ball to. And it is going to be interesting to see how they handle this next season. It's going to be fun to see what Zay Flowers does.
I loved him. I thought that was great. He did so good last year. You know what my biggest question mark is how does Derrick Henry fit into this system? This is such an RPO system, and he's never been in an RPO system.
I don't know if they change it up. I don't know if it's intended to help Lamar not run as much and to actually throw the ball. Like, I don't know if it's like there to be like, Lamar, like, you have gotten better at throwing the ball. You've gotten more accurate. You've gotten more precise with it. Like, let's prove that. Let's give you a workhorse who can run it. And then when we need 50 yards and you've got the running lane, go. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, do we now play this kind of offense? Because if you add Derrick Henry, the Titans were fun with Derrick Henry. Such a boring offense to watch because they'd be like, here you go. Here you go, Derrick. Here you go, Derrick. It was just like, I said, how well do they use him? It's obviously a great addition, but does that take away from some of the stuff? Or does it make Lamar better because he's only throwing it 25 times a game, 20 times a game, to where he doesn't actually have to, and then prove off, and then with the speed of his running and then having Derrick Henry, does it actually make him the better quarterback that we've all been wanting to see, that MVP style, where it's like, now we can go and win it?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I think it's going to be kind of a hybrid. You know, I think they're going to tailor their game a little bit to what Henry is used to, because that's been the track record of success with him. But I think they can't totally shy away from that RPO style with Lamar because of just how deadly he can be with his feet, and his throwing gets better because of the threat of his legs. So his targets are a little more open with that. So I think they're going to have to play a little balance game there and just work through both.
This is a team that I feel like does rely heavily on the run. When they don't have the run, they're kind of mixed. Mark Andrews hopefully has a healthier season this year too. But guys, like, let's just be frank. This could be a Super Bowl contending team if all stay healthy. Because that's
Well,
exactly what we said last year. But they
shit
stay.
part about it, they
What's
were
up?
the shit part about it is they were a Super Bowl contending team even before this offseason.
Yeah.
Before the trades, they were like, hey, this team could potentially win the Super Bowl. And they're like, you know what? We're just going to go sign this hot free agent that every team wants, that every team would love to have on their, every player to love on their team. It's like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. Only time can tell, right?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what happens in this division. Now moving on to by far the most disgusting,
Oh boy.
atrocious team in the
Oh,
NFL. The
I
dirty
thought you were going to go worse than that.
No, the dirty Cleveland Browns, bro. They are trash in a dumpster fire that has been put into a landfill that is on a planet made of trash. That is how bad they are. Okay.
See, this is why you shouldn't run this because you're so fucking biased.
Nope, no
that
bias here.
All of these teams are going to have to say something about.
What they did this offseason, they extended Stefanski and Barry, their GM. Mike Vrabel is now like an analyst, personnel consultant, whatever his role is there. Jerry Jeudy maybe could be good alongside of Amari Cooper. He had a great flash rookie season and then kind of didn't really do much. I understand the quarterback play was a little bit weird, and team 3, not going to talk about it yet, was a little bit interesting, but it's going to be fun to see. Deshaun Watson, an absolute question mark, dumpster fire. And they signed Devin Bush.
Which is their best move.
Okay, you're done.
You're talking about a Michigan guy, yeah.
About 5 betting odds to win the division. Ravens are plus 240. Browns are plus 425. Bengals are plus 140. And the Steelers are plus 450.
Well, I love that you're going into this, and this definitely is crazy. But I think the Browns are actually a little bit more competitive than what you put. And because Alex, I know you're biased. It's okay. Chris, you too. You guys both really can't say anything good about this team, period, end of discussion. So I'll just run this one if you guys don't mind.
Yeah, that's
I'll
fair.
be unbiased and I'll roll through this.
Before we get into it, I'll say one nice thing. Mike Vrabel, great sign to whatever he did. Whatever he's going to do for your team, great sign.
Yeah.
Other than that, still trash. Oh, yeah, and Deshaun Watson could be in jail. Trash. Trash. Yeah, that's what I would say. That's my piece on the Browns.
I think Stefanski has done a good job with the Browns with what he's been given with. I think this team has always been in shambles. It's almost like they basically were the Detroit Lions too for the AFC for a long, long time. And to see them actually be good, to actually see them be competitive. I know you guys, Deshaun Watson did not play what they all hoped he would play last year. That's just the facts. It's true. He got injured. Nick Chubb is dead. I think there are so many pieces that happened for them to not really make the most of their season last year. So we really didn't get to see what that new revamped Browns were. Maybe now after sitting out so much time, getting a year under his belt, Deshaun may change. Who knows? I think really, again, it's one of those things where time can tell. You don't know, maybe he gets better. They're back in the system. He's able to do more. But you agree, Mike Vrabel as just a consultant, dude, at least he's going to make your defense better. Signing Jerry Jeudy, I thought that was actually great because although I don't think Jerry Jeudy is going to be a number 1, I think he's a solid number 2. And to a team that has some decent wide receivers, they're just adding talent to him for Deshaun Watson. Keeps the load off of Amari Cooper, who still is doing it, man. And but this is his second season with him, yeah? If it's his third, this is typical about Amari Cooper. He lost 3 years with every team he's on, right? And the third year starts to have a little bit of a slump. So by what's already happened, history proves itself. Yeah. This would be a time where, maybe they needed that. Maybe they knew that. And so they want to load off of him. But this team could go 50-50 for me, really, truthfully. It depends on injuries. I'm really excited to see Nick Chubb back in. I was really devastated to see him go down. Because, I mean, Chris, I think you did too, right? That was your only running back that you had. Alex, you too, right? Dude,
Yeah,
out of anybody on the
that
Browns
hurt.
you don't want to see get hurt, it's probably Nick Chubb.
That's my favorite player. If I have a favorite player on the Browns, it'd be Nick Chubb. I
Yeah.
just
Absolutely.
like him as a player. He's been like so good for that team, even when they were so bad. Like he's just always been there, running the ball, doing well. And it just sucks to see somebody get hurt like that, and twice in a career to have these crazy knee injuries. Like that's insane. I wonder how he's going to come back. Is he going to come back well? Is he going to
You
come
just
back?
see him squat.
No,
He posted this video of him squatting. I swear it's like 5 plays on
Back
each
to
side.
normal. Back to
Yeah.
normal.
Back to
Nice.
normal. So,
I mean,
which is great to see. You love to see that, but you drafted him in his fantasy leagues. Let's just be honest. I'm not. I maybe pick him if he falls in the second, maybe third round. If the third round for sure and he's still there, I'm 100% taking him. Second, I would contemplate it because he is that good of a talent, but I would still do it.
Well, Justin, I love how you said that you weren't going to be biased and you're going to be nice. But yet you called Jerry Jeudy a solid number 2, and I wouldn't have called him shit, but apparently that's what you think. But I think it's time that we move on to what I think is going to be the winner of this division. That's right, Alex. The Cincinnati Bengals
are trash. Thank you so much for leading that into it.
Are you being serious?
No.
Yes.
He might win. They might win it. But we've got drama. Hold on. We'll get to it. We've got drama in the wide receiver room. T. Higgins wants to be traded, wants not to be a Cincinnati Bengal, because who the fuck wants to live in Cincinnati? Franchise tag. We've got Jamar Chase. Are they going to pay him? Are they not going to pay him? What are they doing there?
They're apparently wanting to wait till next offseason.
Probably a horrible move. Get rid of probably your second best offensive weapon on the team and Joe Mixon, and just be like, you know what? We're going to get Zach Moss. That sounds like a great trade. And then they're going to hit with a Mike Gesicki. Cool. Awesome.
You are so funny. You are literally just reading the outline. You are not making this smooth at all. Let's start at the drama, buddy. Hey, dude, the wide receiver room.
Reading off everything, and then we'll get into it. I'm reading off everything, and then we'll get into it. And then Von Bell, 1-year contract. T. Higgins should be a Steeler. That's all I'm saying.
T. Higgins should be a Lion. All I'm saying.
T. Higgins should be anywhere but the Bengals, because I can't believe
they won't pay him.
No, they are not. They literally want him just for one more year to see if they can make it or break it. And what are you going to do with him after that?
Oh no, is this the first year they franchise tagged him?
Yes. So technically they
could do it.
Well, but was he a first round pick?
I don't remember.
Hey, Jam,
I don't think he has a second franchise tag in his contract. So I think after this year, he could walk.
Well, like, is he going to play? Because there's been so much about him not playing.
He has to.
He has to play.
If he doesn't play, they still own his rights for another year. So if he wants to leave and get that big contract, he has to play. So he did end up at the deadline signing the franchise tag, where he ultimately, just relinquished, okay, they're not going to pay me, but if I don't sign, then they hold on to my rights. So he's a second round. So he does not have that second tag in his contract.
Okay, so you're not paying him. You're not paying Jamar Chase.
Well, you're waiting on Jamar.
Why?
But that's stupid, because the salary cap is only going to get higher and more wide receivers are only going to get paid. So his price is only going to go up.
Yeah, CD needs to get paid this year too.
Yep.
They Jefferson, Tyreek, they're paying on Ayuk if they don't figure it out. Like, if Ayuk gets somewhere before Jamar Chase, it's just going to trade. It's just going to boast that money up so high that I don't know if the Bengals, a statistic team that hates to pay people, I don't know if they're going to pay him. They hate
to pay people.
Literally, they hate
And
that.
everybody has a salary cap, right? There's an amount that you can spend, but
Yes.
there's also an amount that the team is willing to spend. And Cincinnati is always known for being cheap.
Small market, baby.
Small market team,
It's
100%.
it's not even that it's a small market. It's like the fact is the owner does not have the same money that most of the NFL owners have.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's some outliers of people who are filled like the Panthers owner is like one of the richest people in the world. But the Bengals ownership is significantly less valued than the other teams.
That you're, and then like how does that translate into like coming to the year with T Higgins? Is he going to show up for OTAs? Like, is he going to actually do stuff? Like, is he going to?
I mean,
up?
if I'm T Higgins, I'm showing up so I don't get fined. I'm going to make sure I collect every single penny of that franchise tag because it's not like it's small money. It's just not long-term committed money, and collect what you can and get out of there.
Yeah, like,
But are you really like, are you going to give it your all?
Yeah, because you want.
Yeah, because you want that next contract.
Yeah, you want some team to sign you. You want to go to some team that wants you to be there, like they're number one or whatever.
What might not do though is you might not put yourself in the same situations you would if you had that guaranteed contract, i.e., injury wise. Okay, I could try and plow through this guy to get some more yardage, or I could just step out of bounds right now.
Yeah.
He's gonna step out of bounds. He's not gonna fight for those extra yardage, I don't think. You gotta be careful.
Letting go of Joe Mixon was a little bit interesting. I like Zach Moss a lot, but letting go of Joe Mixon for Zach Moss is an interesting. I mean, hopefully what they're trying to do is free up some capital to pay Jamar Chase, but it didn't seem like they were trying to do that, like, because they haven't paid him yet. And then getting Gesicki, I just thought that this offense is going to be very interesting to see how it plays out with if their wide receivers can all get it together on the same end. Gesicki is Gesicki. He's going to do what he does. He's a pretty average tight end in the league, and it's great. Like, you know what? You can't ask for much more. You're either going to have an elite tight end or an average tight end.
Yeah.
Like, there's 2 or 3 elite tight ends, and then you're going to have everyone else. And Gesicki is one of those guys that he's going to produce and do well for you, but he might not put up these crazy numbers and all these touchdowns, but he's going to block and he's going to get open when he needs to.
I think the thing that the Cincinnati Bengals are doing that's going to fail them is they're putting so much pressure on Joe.
Yeah.
They're relying so heavily on who he is as a quarterback, his ability to play ball, that it's a lot. And if he gets injured, which he's known to be injury prone, what are you doing, man? What are you doing? You just lose what you wanted. So this team, to me, and Chris was so excited, and you seem very hard on that this is going to be the team to win. And I'd love to talk about it later, but this is one of my question mark teams. And
I get it.
I'm so excited for this next one. I just want to get into it, dude. I'm pumped.
The motherfucking Pittsburgh Steelers with an absolutely beautiful offseason. Some would say remarkable. Some would say exquisite. I would say, as a Steelers fan, it was fun to watch. Finally, an offseason that I can be happy and come back to and be like, yeah, we actually got better as a team. We actually did things. We actually made moves. We actually traded players to get better as a team. We, like the Lions, own the Bears in trade. Okay, they absolutely love giving us free people. Basically, it's just nice. We do have a little bit of an interesting quarterback room. Hopefully, Fields can learn a little bit from Wilson. Say what you want about Wilson. Will he play the whole season? I don't know. He's at least been a high-level caliber Super Bowl winning quarterback that can hopefully teach Justin Fields something on the back end. And if you think that I'm crazy, I'm not. Okay, Christopher? Chris is shaking his head. But it's like at least he's been to the Super Bowl. He's won the Super Bowl. He's done that. And he can at least maybe help Justin Fields because he kind of was a first iteration of what a mobile quarterback in the new era kind of looks like. Now Justin Fields a lot more mobile than him, but hopefully he can help him figure that out. We did absolutely step up our defense. It was already crazy good. And then adding Queen onto that, come on, baby. It's going to be fun to see how this defense works. It's going to be as we live and breathe by our defense always. It's going to be great. It is going to be interesting to see. I hope that team 3 is out of the building. Hope it's not in there. That's my only thing with Russell, and I don't think.
But Mr. Unlimited needs his crew.
Mr. Unlimited hasn't ever worked with a coach like Mike Tomlin. I don't think Mike's really being like, I'm gonna let team 3 in the building. It's a
he might not.
You're on a 1-year veteran contract. You don't fucking show up, you're not gonna be on this team next year. So we're not gonna have them in the building.
I think all that anyways is over. Like, it was just because he made a bunch of money and he switched to the Broncos. Like, it was just a hype around him. But
it's going to be nice for him to come to a team that needs a quarterback that has something instilled. The Broncos were the Broncos. Go ahead.
I have one question. Are you finally ready to say it?
Oh, dude, Kenny Pickett was trash, brother.
Finally.
I've been waiting for this moment.
I have to support my quarterback till we go down. Okay. We're loyalists. We like our team. We want the best for our team. And if you're on our team, we're going to be loyal. And good luck in the other half of the city, the team of not so brotherly love, because they will hate you if you go downhill real quick over there in Philly. But it's exciting season. We haven't had a good quarterback since Ben left. And so it's going to be fun to see what goes on, what's happening. Like, we've got 2 options now. We had 0 last year. So it's going to be fun to see where the season takes us. I think Russell Wilson plays 51% of the season.
By the way, you guys didn't have a good quarterback before Ben left.
Okay, calm down.
The last few years of Ben's Steelers career was what?
I don't want to hear you badmouth Mr. Roethlisberger, okay? I don't want to hear.
I'm going to let Chris go first because Chris is going to badmouth your entire team, and then I want to come in behind it and kind of clean it up. Is that cool with you?
100%. I'm down. The only question mark that we do have, and I will put this out front, is wide receiver.
Running back.
No. Najee and Warren, they did really, really well together last year. It was an actual highlight of our team, surprisingly. Najee Harris.
Well, that's just because Kenny sucked that bad.
Najee Harris has had quietly a 3-year 1,000-yard rushing seasons. And then now to add Warren on top of that, just like it's a 1-2 punch, it's going to be a fun, exciting season for all around. We added some good offensive linemen in the draft, which was hype. We added a wide receiver that I know Christopher loves.
Absolutely. I love that kid.
We added a linebacker in we added some really, really high people, analysts who are sometimes the smartest people in the world. And when we talk about the Steelers, you probably are the smartest person in the world. They said that we had the best draft class. I'm going to take it. It was a really good draft class. It was a really good draft for us. It was a really good offseason for us. And I'm just excited. It's exciting to go into the season and not have to put on a face that we love Kenny Pickett. But yeah.
All right,
Chris. All right. So I'm going to agree with you. Your defense is going to be top notch. As long, obviously, everything I say is barring everyone stays healthy 100% of the time. Your defense is going to be one of the top in the league, no doubt. And I will admit, I don't hate literally, but Najee Harris was one of the most frustrating fantasy players for me 2 years ago. And so he did absolutely have a much better season last season. I do believe though that's because the team lost so much faith in Kenny that they really just fed Najee. And he stayed healthy and everything. Obviously you're way better at quarterback with whoever you go with. And Roman Wilson is the greatest draft pick the Steelers have ever made. The kid's gonna be a stud. I like because you know what, Alex, you not only defended Kenny Pickett, but you defended Deontay Johnson a lot too.
Yeah.
And
I was the biggest Deontay hater. I was one of the biggest Deontay haters. I wanted him off our team so bad.
Maybe this past year you actually were, but before that you talked about how much potential he has and number one and whatnot. And then once George Pickens really showed up, that's when you switched to the George Pickens train. Well, I'm here to tell you that I'm saying it right now, Roman Wilson has a better year this year than George Pickens.
I could believe that because I don't know if George Pickens is really ready to be a number one yet. He didn't prove that last year because he kind of did take over that number one spot from Deontay, which is
Yeah,
why
he had to.
he had to, right? And he didn't have like the greatest year. Now, obviously, it was thrown to him, so we'll see what happens. But is he ready to take that step? What happens to us every time we have these really good number ones, where these really good number twos who now have to step into number ones. Juju
Mhm.
did it.
Juju,
Now,
yep.
now we have Pickens, that the whole Kenny Pickett and the Pickens always fucking
That's going to be hard.
yeah. Pickens is now have to step into it. Now I just hope that, like you said, Roman can do it, but doesn't have that same curse that we seem to have, where it's like trying to become that number one is just so hard. Trying to find that number one for us is so hard. Our number twos are like crazy good. It's just because they don't have all that pressure on them, and they're not getting the double coverage. They're not getting these special treatments because they're the number one, so they can be single covered and they do really, really well. But we'll see what happens.
I feel you. And now getting to your quarterback situation, because it is, I would say it's even like way, way, way more unique than the Atlanta Falcons with Kirk and Penix, because obviously Penix is a rookie. Yes, he's an older rookie, but he's still a rookie. You have time where you only have the 1 year contract with with Russell Wilson, and you have Justin Fields that actually has been proven to a degree at the pro level, unlike Penix. So it's going to be really interesting. I just can't imagine the Steelers finish the season without Justin Fields at the helm. I think you're going to get to a point where you have all this talent in all these areas of the team, and people are going to start calling for the switch if there's any sort of struggle at the quarterback position, because of how cheap Russell Wilson is, because he's only on a 1 year deal, and because people are going to want to see, okay, what does Justin Fields look like in this offense? We saw what he was like with Chicago. Let's just see it. And there's at least going to be a moment where they experiment with Justin Fields out there. And I just have a feeling he's going to demand that spot afterwards.
I'm not saying this is going to happen, but this is Steelers fashion. We're going to go like 6-0, 7-0, and then like that tail end has always been rough for us. We know this. We saw it the last couple of years. We'll go like these crazy numbers in the very beginning, and then we have to win one game to get above 500 in the last 7, and we can't. We win one. It's like always happens every year. But it's going to be that like, hey, maybe we do go like 6-7-0, and then Russell lose one. And we know what happens when we lose one. We just can't seem to get that next victory under our belt until like later in the season. And I know that once that happens, it's going to be calling one loss. Even if we go 0-1, it's going to be calling for that Justin Fields. You start 0-1. Why don't we play Justin? I know that's what's going to happen.
I could see it. I could definitely see it.
It's going to be a really fun division. I mean, like we got Mike Tomlin for another 3 years, or I guess on top of whatever he had left. But yeah, it's gonna be fun to see.
Justin, what are your thoughts on this team that rivals the Cowboys when it comes to NFL historical prestige?
That was a little stretch. They definitely have more. They have good Super Bowls and they'll have a lot, but prestige, different level.
100%.
No offense, different level.
100%.
I didn't realize that was going to open up a box right there, but I'm glad it did.
I would say last year I hated the Steelers. I didn't like anything they were doing. I told Alex to his face he was dumb. We did a bet that thank God didn't go through because he would have lost so bad. I had zero belief in anything that they were doing. When they signed Russell Wilson, I thought, what a deal. Great. Like, no matter what he is still a winning Super Bowl winning quarterback. He is still proven to be a starter. And in a team that has a ready team, he can go in there, plug in, and be a really good systematic quarterback for them. He can get the job done. I don't necessarily love Najee Harris, but I like Warren. I think Najee's just kind of a big bitch too. He reminds me a little bit of Juju, right? Just kind of a lot of talk, but not all the walk that he typically does. But I think between the two, you'll have a lot of success. But I could definitely see Warren eventually taking over that role. But I still think it'll be a 50-50 split between the two. When it comes to the quarterback position, I think Justin will definitely get play time and they'll use him as a weapon, whether to throw and or run. But like even the other day, I was watching a video of him training with CJ Stroud, and his footwork is fucking disgusting compared to these elite level quarterbacks. So I think really Fields has to learn a lot. I think the Bears didn't set him up for success. And you can still look at all the Bears, and they still had a ton of people surrounding him, and he still didn't do shit. So what's going to make the difference between that and the Pittsburgh Steelers? Nothing. I think it's development. It's a better quarterback to learn from because Russell can still teach and he can still learn from Russell. I think this is the season where he really works on who he is as a quarterback, and they use Russell as an interim. I think they use him for this year as an interim quarterback. I think he plays at least 75% of the games for sure. I think at the end of the day, you guys have a really good shot at competing within your division. I think your hardest competing team is the Ravens, but like your defense has always been scary good. And then you added Queen and it just got even worse. I hope it relieves a little bit of TJ because, dude, TJ's just been injured after injured after injured, and it's really hurting your team.
Last year it was rough. It was really brutal to go into that playoff game without like any fucking starters.
Yeah.
And so it was really rough. But yeah, I think it's going to do that. Highsmith's coming back too, and he was on a tear. It's just going to be a fun defense to watch, and I think it's like reminiscent of like our old school days where you could have like a Russell Wilson back there throwing 20 times for 200 yards and win the Super Bowl. Not because I don't think that they could win the Super Bowl, but that defense, if it proves to what it's supposed to be, could be that good to where it's like nothing happens on their watch and we score 10 points and we win the game.
Yeah. Hey, defense wins championships. And I think the biggest question mark for you is Pickens. I think because he is a question mark, he's a talented wide receiver, but he proved to be a baby last year. And he's a whiner baby of all that. So like, what does this cause between the quarterback people already, right? Like, Russ already has that look and everybody bags on him. And then he didn't really get along with any of the Broncos personnel. Like they didn't really care for him. So what happens here is Pickens going to just outwardly express again. Pickens is acting like he's the star of the team without really earning the right to be the star of the team. Like to be the face of the Pittsburgh Steelers, you have to earn it. Right. Just like you have to earn it to be the face of the Cowboys. You got to earn it to be the face. I was going to say the Lions, but anybody can earn that. But like those, like they are prestigious franchises and they're known for winning championships. That's who they are. And it would be interesting to me to see how he does and who he acts like. And I hope Mike Tomlin and him had a moment this offseason, just kind of be like, hey, this is the person that we need you to be. Not the prima donna that you are.
I hope so. But we see
I agree.
Prima donna wide receivers.
Yeah. And I love that you guys added Fields, by the way. I think it's great because it gives him time to develop. He can be a really good quarterback. He knows how to use his feet. It's kind of like a Lamar, right? You have your Lamar. And I think with the right people in the right system, he could be better than what he was with the Bears. And again, you just got to see. It's just one of these things you got to let play out. What happens? What changes? Maybe he does get in there and then something happens. Maybe he gets injured and his career sets back. Like you really can't tell these things unless those moments happen. You can predict them. But like for him, I really can't predict because after seeing him, he has surrounded by talent. He's had moments to shine and he didn't really prove it. So this would be his like all or nothing. Like he's either going to do it or you guys are going to go pick top pick quarterback because you have to. Because it's fucking, you have no other option.
Yeah, we don't usually get super high draft picks, so it's nice to, it's hopefully that we can bring these two quarterbacks in to fix that problem. Because in all reality, if Justin Fields even sits this year, he's got another 6, 7 years under him that he could play at elite level. Like if he
Yeah.
does take that change this year, figure out how to play football all over again, figure out his like super, super basic like mechanics of everything, make sure those are solid. He could be the quarterback for the future for the next 5, 6 years. And that'd be awesome, right? We could figure that
Yeah.
out. But like you said, only time will tell. And so I think it's time to rank this division, brother. Who's winning it all, boys? Who's going 1, 2, 3, 4 in this division?
Who wants to go first?
Yeah, you go first.
I'll go first because mine's going to be the craziest. I think Alex is going to pick on emotion. Justin will be logical. And I normally try my best to be logical, but this is going to be a mix of emotion and just gut feeling and bullshit. So I'm riding with the Bengals winning the division. I don't think they're going to look or be the best team in the division. I just think, statistically, record-wise, in-division record-wise, Joe Burrow is going to have a comeback year. He's going to stay healthy, and him and Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, for that fact, will carry this team to a divisional win. Now, that being said, I think the Ravens will look like a much better team than them. I think the Ravens are going to come in second. Then I think the Steelers, Alex, we're a little opposite here. You think the Steelers are going to start off hot and then fall off a little bit to cause Justin Fields to come in. I think they start off slow. And then Justin Fields comes in and they light it up. And they look like they're also better than the Bengals by the end of the season. But they're going to come in third. And I think those three teams make the playoffs. Then you got the Browns coming in last, not making the playoffs.
They do, baby, like they always do.
You know what,
And that's my
Chris?
rankings.
I don't think that's too crazy. I can understand what you're saying it, but not even close, man. Ravens are going to take this team by far. Like the Ravens are the best team in this division, and they will win these primetime games. They'll be the team to beat. They're going to win it. Second, Alex, this is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. It's going to be enough to get you into the playoffs because I really like what you guys have done. I really, really hope for Russell Wilson's sake that he does do good for you guys and it takes your team where it needs to be because you guys have the defense to do it. And they say defense wins championships and all you need is 14 points, 21 points. Just get me something and stop them. And if you can do that, you win games. After that, I got the Bengals. I struggle between the Bengals and the Browns, and I think they're really tied for me. But I think only two teams make it out of this division in the playoffs. Chris, I'm not doubting the three. I can definitely see that. But I just don't believe Joe Burrow is going to stay healthy enough all season long to make it to the end. So I got and then last, obviously, I do have the Browns. But I have the Ravens and the Steelers making it into the playoffs in the division for sure.
I think this is the year that we finally get over the hump of a 9-8 season. Wow. I think that we go first in our division. I think this is emotions, like you said. I'm going to give you my emotional pick, and then I'm going to give you my real pick. I think it goes Steelers, Ravens, Bengals.
Browns.
Hold on, I'm trying to think of the shitty team in our division. Oh yeah, the Browns. Sorry, they're so bad that I lose their name sometimes. In actuality, I think it's probably going to be the Ravens. I think I'm going to go with Justin's list: the Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, and.
I'm so proud of you. You just went logical.
Yeah, so
I know. I was shocked.
I have an emotional and I have a logical one.
It's so hard for me to say it, but like you just like it's so hard to say that they're not going to win the division. They're so fucking good. Like they're just so good for no reason. Like I understand there's a reason, but they're just so. I want them to do bad so much. They just don't, and I know that will give them a loss on the season because. No matter what our fucking team is, we'll go 1-1 with the Ravens, just like with the Browns and the Green Bay Packers and the Commanders. Like you fight these teams. You're like, fuck, why do we always lose?
You had me in the beginning. You lost me in the end when you started talking about the Packers and the Commanders.
Hey, he was trying to talk about our teams.
Yeah. You have your teams where it's like the Cowboys should beat the Commanders 2-0 whatever the Giants, right? Every year. But for some fucking reason, They just will win on you, and it sucks. And I think that talent-wise, we can match with anybody in our division.
Yeah.
I just, like Chris said, I don't know if yet they're going to gel together like they should when you have a brand new person at the helm. Why we probably did so well last year is because we had Kenny Pickett that played with them for 2 years and like understood the system. And like, was he a great quarterback? No, but he at least knew the system and could make the throws that he needed to make to get us to 9-8. It's
Yeah.
not like we got to 9-8, but it was like you at least got us there. You didn't
Yeah.
play half the fucking season, but you got some wins. And so yeah, I'm stoked to see the season start. I think that's the first two divisions that we're going to go through this week, boys. And next week, we're going to be going through two more divisions. As you can tell, one AFC, one NFC, as Jay predicted earlier, told us earlier that we're going to be doing that. So until next time, boys, you have anything to say?
Man, it feels so great to be back. It's nice to see you guys. It's nice to talk some football. It feels so good. It makes me so excited. I can't wait for the season to start, and or I just see what happens with us too. I hope everything we did this offseason really plays out to fruition. And yeah, we just keep doing it, man. Killing it.
Chris?
Yeah, I can't say it better myself right there. I ditto to everything Justin just said. I'm just excited to be back talking with you guys. I look forward to a season full of arguments and McJam corrections and Alexisms and all sorts of fun that we get up to on here. So here's to another season.
Sir, boys. Well, boys, thanks for coming on. This is going to be an actual call because we're actually doing shit on there now. Go follow us on all socials at the Three Amigos Podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, please. You know, we really want to see you guys interact with us. We're turning a season. This is a season of positivity. No more FUs at the end of our channels, and we're gonna be all positive. So if you go ahead and hit those and follow us, it'd mean the world to us. So we just can't wait to get talking about football. We can't wait to get talking about dumb shit. Chris and I are gonna try to keep our rants to a minimum. And with that, boys, we are out. The Three Amigos will see you next week. Peace.
See you guys.